Listen to Jeremiah, the prophet. When I found your words, I devoured them. They became my joy, the happiness of my heart, because I bore your name, O Lord, God of hosts. Each of us, all of us, bear that dignity, deserve that respect, because I bore your name, O Lord, God of hosts. And so we pray, give us the courage, strength, and grace, Lord God, to build a world of justice and peace, ready for the coming of your kingdom. Amen. Plenty of us spend our lives competing against all kinds of duppies, you know. Yeah, not only each other, but all kinds of imaginary persons and issues where we want to come out first. How about just being ourselves? How about just trying to do whatever we have to do as well as possible and as genially and happily as possible, respectful of the others. Different way of life? Sure. So it don't matter if my dress or my suit don't quite match up to anybody else's, or if I don't have the same looks, I don't have to go and do something to my head or my face or my foot. Yeah, I just be who I am. Yes, respect and love that, and we treat each other. No competition, Freddie McGregor. Yes. Setting the theme. Thanks, Audley, for this morning's early rise on the Bridge 99. We welcome you. You know, this is a space where we just get together, Pearnel, Charles, and myself. We reflect and connect, not just the two of us, but you too can share. And we're reaching out and linking with the diaspora. Who is the diaspora? People of Jamaican origin, people who have been here, people who hear about us. Yeah, you don't even have to come, you know. We take you just as you are. Any way you want to link us. It's just a special place. Yes, a unique vibe, a real creation of God's love and purpose for humanity. Jamaica, land we love. Thanks for being a part then of the Bridge Nation, tuning in to the Bridge 99.1 3579 on the FM dial. And you can watch us. Our live stream is www.thebridge99fm.com, wherever you are in the world. You know, somebody spoke to me about that yesterday, and they said, boy, we hear the voices, you know, but we wish we could see the faces. Well, if you link us on the internet, www.thebridge99fm, you will see the faces, and very importantly, you'll see the guests who we have. Dr. Thompson this morning and many others on different days. And you can add the sight to the sound. How about that? We appeal to all the senses on the Bridge 99. You can join us in the conversation, calling our phone line at 876-676-4996, or connect with us via WhatsApp at 876-551-5782. The ability to speak the word, to think the thoughts, to radiate the sentiment, to touch the hearts. What a tremendous, tremendous opportunity and privilege it is. Radio offers, the mass media in general applies. Well, there you are. The weather report, I was like, you need to know, you know, however cold upon you, or heater trouble you, you need to know what's happening at home. And here it is, the Meteorological Service of Jamaica's forecast for today. It's Tuesday, January the 18th. This morning and this afternoon, we can expect intermittent showers and possible thunderstorms across northern parishes and hilly areas. Otherwise, it will be mostly cloudy. Listen to me, you should have seen the full moon. It's not really quite full. It was a couple of days ago, but still it is resplendent. Yes? For me, it is a sign of Mother Mary's love. Yes, always constant, quiet. Yes, never failing. Yeah, the full moon in Jamaica. You should have seen the sunset across Kingston Harbor last night. All the blend of colors. The blue, the green, the orange. Okay? And fading. The only thing that I would want is for more twilight so we could enjoy that beauty, that romance, that mystery a little longer, but we take what we get, you see. There you go. Jamaica, wonderful Jamaica, sweet Jamaica. Well, here's the news. The headlines in the press this morning, both newspapers yielding to pressure from doctors and nurses. The Holness administration has ordered all public hospitals to treat only emergency cases in a bid to manage a crippling coronavirus outbreak that has flooded wards and caused infected healthcare staff to be pulled from the front line. What did DJ say oddly? Woyoy? Yes, woyoy. Yeah. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton outlined yesterday that we're being affected by the infection rate among healthcare staff, particularly our nurses and doctors. This is affecting our service response in all areas. When this happens, we have to prioritize emergency cases. We understand, Chris. But at the same time, it is really a difficult situation. I'm thinking of all those people with chronic diseases, the persons who need dialysis, the persons who have cancer to treat, who are troubled with hypertension or diabetes, which is a big affliction in Jamaica. We have to come back to that on the early rise one time. Public health, why we have so much hypertension, so much diabetes. The scholars, like Professor Beckles, tell us is because of the bad diet that we were introduced to in slavery, and we kind of hold on to it. But then, true, but no, we can change that now, if we want to. Are we? Yeah, I've always admired the Adventists, because they have a diet. They recommend a diet which is far more healthy than the fast food joints propose. And we need to look and see how we can preserve our health. But I'm just thinking of those people, hundreds and thousands of them, who spend their last mickle and muckle with for a taxi fare, go to a clinic, or go to a hospital when things are really bad, and now they're being turned away because of the coronavirus. Well, emergency is emergency. But then you see, emergency is of a different texture when what is happening is a lot of the people who are in there struggling to breathe with the coronavirus is because they wouldn't take the vaccination. Yeah, they wouldn't protect themselves, at least partially, by doing that. So that is not just, and I grumble at that. We're not going to kick them out, but at the same time, the rest of us have to understand and get conscious. Yeah, this program defend consciousness. We don't defend ignorance and prejudice and discrimination. Yeah. So consciousness, think about yourself, and more than that, think about others. Yes. Think about others and how your behavior, your activity, your choices affect other people. We are not part of the me first generation. That is a selfishness, okay? We don't live to ourselves only, we live for other people. Yeah, in Jesus' name. All right, well, the quarantine crisis has stretched the manpower of public hospitals, with healthcare workers wilting under the stress and refusing even financial inducement in the fourth wave of the pandemic. Can you imagine? These are people whose pay is not good in the first instance, and they're saying, no, boy, don't want to give me any more money. I'm just not coming. I can't take it. Yeah. Right. And that we must talk about, rather than some of the foolishness that our leaders are either refusing to deal with, or when they deal with, they are entirely diversionary. Coming to that shortly. Worsening staff-to-patient ratios have put pressure on the Maypen Hospital in central Jamaica, with the senior medical officer there, Dr. Edwards, acknowledging, quote, challenges with being able to look after everybody in a timely manner. Yeah. Those of us outside may not see it, but it is happening. Not good. Not good. The Observer this morning tells us that the Ministry of Health is saying, look here, doctors, nurses, you can't go on leave right now, You have to come out. And even if you have some little symptoms, if you're not real sick, come out in parts of the United States. That's what they're saying too, because we need you. Yeah. So while hospitalizations remain low, though not so low, it's over 400 people, brushing 500 now, who are in hospital with COVID. And remember now, our capacity, as I recall it, when every bed, every corridor, every waiting area chock up with COVID patients is about 600. So we're not far from that. And, well, we hope that we're nearing the peak, but who says so? Yeah. So it's not the time to slack up. It's the time to be very careful and do. People who have care of or interest in elderly people, try keep them at home. Try get the medication and give them, because going to hospital right now is a if and but operation. Yeah, Clarendon is highlighted in my news brief this morning. A wave of infections and exposure that has displaced its staff, despite the majority of them being vaccinated. Well, we always knew that, and that is no anti-vax argument, because you still get the virus when you vax. It don't mean say you mustn't get vax or sit there now. You know what? That's not so. Yeah, that is wrong argument. Hey, Jamaica man and woman must learn to think straight. This crooked thinking business can cause all kind of worries. See it. And since we always have a what Rex Nettleford called, am I quoting him correctly? Inward stretch, outward reach, or was it inward reach, outward stretch? I think that was what it was. What a remarkable man he was. I won't forget him, Loving guy, Yes? Creative. Rex, Honorable Rex Nettleford. Gone too soon. Since we are always outward stretching to our region, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, she says that the opposition in Barbados has filed an injunction to stop the country's general election scheduled for day after tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Wednesday. Whoops. Yes. Well, I don't know. I don't know all the details, and not in Barbados. I don't think that injunction is going to get anywhere. Barbados is going to the polls tomorrow, and Mia is going to be re-elected. Yeah. She has made her mark, and the opposition does not seem to be strong enough to displace her. A total of 108 candidates representing 7 political parties and 9 independents. What? That's more than Jamaica usually puts forward, Yes? 7 political parties. We don't have so much hardly. Just a few, yes. But anyway, despite that, observers see that it's a straight fight between the ruling Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party. Yes? They are in opposition, or they are the opposition party, because they don't have no seat. Yeah. So, Barbados, their Prime Minister, a very attractive person who is not backward in coming forward, as they say, and who avoids some of the confusion and the contradiction and the compromise that other leaders in the region show so blatantly, is probably going to be re-elected. We wish her well. Yes, wish her very, very well. One day we must invite her on this program in Olafane. Yeah, we want Prime Minister Mia Mottley talk about regionalism, talk about her relationship and vibes for Jamaica. She knows us well. So we'll try and arrange that. The bridge has a regional dimension, Hey, when you are part of the diaspora in America or England or Canada, people don't too notice whether you come from Jamaica or Barbados or St. Vincent or Trinidad, Yeah? You're a Caribbean person. It's only we deny it and the sea that keeps us apart, and some selfishness and some narrowness that has bedeviled our history. I declare my hand. I'm an unrepentant federalist. I campaigned for the Federation in the early 1960s. Well, we defeated it. Remember that remarkable quote from Eric Williams? It was 10 countries going to federate, and he said 10 minus 1, and the 1 was Jamaica, equal 0, not 9, 0. So we scuttled it to our own detriment. Yeah? And it's not just that we're talking about. What we're talking about is a spirit of cooperation that has to be resplendent not only within our land, but also within our region. We are all the same people. The only difference is where the slave boat or the immigrant boat happened to stop and who got chosen to come off where. Yes. My ancestors, oddly, some of them were headed for another Caribbean territory, but the breeze from Portugal, but the breeze blew them towards Jamaica. So what now? We must separate ourselves by that fact from the place where they were to go and where they had other relatives. That's nonsense. The future of the small island state is an issue for the bridge, for regionalists, and indeed for us on the early rise. To what extent are we going to continue to say we are so special with our little 100,000 people or even our 3 million people where we can't count? By the way, I've just enjoyed myself, but what about the census that we're supposed to have? It's a long time since we tried to count up Jamaica people, I laugh because there are a whole heap of people who will go from Negril to Moran Point to avoid get count, just as they did in Jesus' time. Now, no want anybody know them and have them number. Yes? And we fill up our head with all kinds of folly to avoid being registered for who we are, a Jamaican people, a proud Caribbean people. Yes? A mix-up people in some respects, but with an Afrocentric culture, respecting the Indians, the Chinese, those of European origin, strengthening biodiversity, recognizing the pluriformity of us all. Yeah. So that's what we stand for, Right. Well, not leaving the region at all, here's the next item of news I want to just present to you this morning. The United States Senate, what a fractious, difficult body that is. The United States Senate has passed a law called the Haiti Development, Accountability, and Institutional Transparency Initiative Act. What a big name. All right? Well, it's designed to measure the progress of post-disaster recovery and promotes efforts to address corruption, governance, rule of law, and media freedoms in the French-speaking Caribbean country. Haiti to me is an enigma, a puzzle, because they have such a strong spirit. The heroes of the Caribbean are Dessalines and Toussaint Louverture, Henri Christophe, and so many others. I rate Aristide in his earlier manifestation too, many others. And yet the economic distress and natural disasters and disunity have so prevented them from achieving a relief from the suffering that so many of them experience. So this bill now, which is a bipartisan bill, which itself is a miracle in the United States for Republican and Democrat to do anything together, is to provide for a unified approach to rebuilding and developing Haiti, and to concentrate on human rights protections, anti-corruption efforts, and reconstruction efforts led by Haitians. Well, I hope they get through. I'm glad they're paying some attention. I have to tell you that while I do not question the motive of those who are proposing this legislation for Haiti, that they mean well for the country, the big afraid that the United States has about Haiti is that if things don't improve, more people are going to come from Haiti to the U.S. And that them don't want. All right? But you can't, the relationship between the great continental North America and the Caribbean has to be examined, You can't come in and take what you want, but when we want to come to you, you say, no, the door closed. Can't work that way. Mustn't work that way. So I'm not saying that you can have a borderless state, but I am questioning about the historical and indeed the current arrangements. I argue the same way, when I hear some of our leaders saying that, Jamaica is still unfriendly to foreign investors. Oh, really? Well, I'd like to know the details. I don't say you're wrong. You know the business world more than me. But where foreign investors want more than tax break, preferred social status, opportunity to repatriate all your profits, earn any amount that you can sometimes. I won't continue that sentence. What really you want? Hey, advantage taking is not to our benefit, And unfortunately, while foreign investment, many, many elements of it have done us well and helped us to move a little. A little, I say, yeah. Right? Some of it don't really help us, Well, you know my view on the bauxite thing. No, if not before. So these people who want us to open our arms and, forgive my indelicacy, open our legs to these foreign investors, I don't know what that is. And we, Jamaica, right now have to consider our situation. And it better we fund our development. Jamaica is not poor, It's only, only the fact that much of the money where we have, it go out, follow the foreign investor, when in fact what we need to do is to culture, our own atmosphere of prosperity, of wealth creation in ways that will make a difference. This notion that we are going to have to depend on somebody from outside to tell us how to develop, I don't think that is consistent with the pride of our independence and the deep, rich, talented humanity that God has given us, and the earth that He has blessed us to occupy. So these are profound issues of philosophy as well as economics and social order that we have to take up on the Bridge 99, because we're dealing with the diaspora, and we want to friend with all, Yeah, and what I'm saying does not apply to Jamaicans who have gone abroad and made their money and come back here, because they are one of us, right? But they must behave in a way that textures our interests broadly and theirs, not just simply to come in here to see what they can get and take. And all that. Yeah, different morality, different liberty. On the early rise, on the Bridge 99 FM. We soon come back. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thanks. I hope you're well too.
Yes.
You're concerned about events far away from us in
yes,
Europe?
I am concerned.
Cold War,
that,
tell us.
Not only the international enemy, the virus, but there's problems in the far east, what would you call it, northeast, east,
of
west,
Europe.
north.
That's
Europe. The Soviet Union has pulled her children, diplomats, diplomats' children.
From the border with Ukraine?
No, from the embassies.
Okay.
Internal.
Okay.
Bus loads and train loads.
Leaving the country.
Have left.
Yeah.
And
they're preparing for war, you think?
Well, they said that heavy tanks are moving to the border
of Ukraine.
And I'm sure there's consultation with the Western world and people in the other part of the world that share the views of the Western world.
But I was asking you, what do they want? They want freedom. They don't want Ukraine and their bordering states
to join
the
NATO.
North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
And one or two things.
The defense mechanism after the Second World War, which has kept Europe and the Russian Empire in all of its forms in reasonable peace over the years.
Can you imagine we're having a war at this time?
No. And the American, the United States, and Britain, and indeed France, they have no appetite for war anymore.
Well, not only they have no appetite for war, they have no war culture at this time. I mean, they are not even attacking Cuba. They're not even attacking socialism in the West.
They're doing it by other means.
They have a problem. Internal
they have their own problems, yes.
Yes.
And that's something that affects us, because very much the kind of mood and spirit influences our diaspora and influences ourselves.
That's correct.
But
and our people.
And our people.
Much more than the diaspora. I mean, people at home here.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
George Lamming wrote a book called The Mimic Men. Yes. And just the title alone gives us an indication how much we are influenced, by external forces. This is why the building up, not in any jingoistic way to hate anybody, but of the building up of local culture and wholesome local culture, not Bangla gal culture, yes? is so important for our national identity and as a foundation for our personality and therefore our productivity, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and I'll add one to that, and what I'm very happy about, very proud about, that the diaspora is showing us a sort of federation.
Yeah.
Because it's not only Jamaicans, you know.
Yeah.
People from other islands are looking at
Yeah.
our Jamaicans over there.
Yeah.
And we are not as united here
Yeah.
as our people overseas are united.
Remind me of your past, because you used to be head of a Caribbean
Student Association.
Student Association in New York.
Yes.
Now, the distinctions between who came from Antigua and who came from St. Kitts and Trinidad were in your days. You never make those things trouble you.
In fact, we never ask a question. Now and again, I say, you sound like you're from Guyana. You know, and
So
it was never, once you come and you're from the West Indies, whether it's Guyana or Barbados or Jamaica,
or Belize,
you were one of us.
Correct, sir. So that was the function of empire, because we all had a British tradition.
We had an organization
Yes.
that you didn't know who was in there, and that's why you remember former Horace Clark.
Yes.
Former minister. Horace was treasurer for 5 years.
Yes.
And we beg him every year to go back, not to compete against him.
Yes.
And
Well, what, answer me. Why have we lost that?
why have we not been able to carry it home?
Okay.
Because
better question.
Because the truth is, we fought for federation. All the students
Fought for federation.
Yes, we thought that. I mean,
And then you come back to Jamaica and turn your face.
come back to Jamaica and forget federation and fall into a separation.
And fall into a separation.
And there is it.
Yeah. Well, you had more wisdom abroad than you brought back home. We have a caller on the early rise. This is the Bridge 99. Good morning, caller.
Morning, gentlemen.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Morning, sir. Morning.
To collaborate in what you have to say and share with us.
Thank you. We're
Glad
for the early risers.
Suggestion. We have a suggestion. We have 3 diaspora links, right?
Right.
We need a 4th.
Which one?
We need to look at the Gulf of Guinea.
Gulf of Guinea.
Probably choose Ghana. Probably choose Ghana out of that. There are other options.
Yeah. Okay. And
so I hope your programmers are management and things.
No, well, tell me more about that. Why would you want us to do that?
We are part of their diaspora.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, if you think about diaspora, you have to make the link where we come from. Not necessarily where we're going to. So you need to add to that.
Okay.
To make up a good mix.
Tell me a question I always ask now. Are they interested in us?
No, but we need to be interested in them. We need to make a link. I mean, we're still a family here. We have a lot of water going through the bridge. Some of it kind of murky. Or some of it ignorant of
Under
what
the bridge.
the reality is.
Yes. Okay, I follow you. All right.
But let me bore you with one.
But didn't Pearnel do just that?
No, Pearnel, you're not a cricketer, sir. Don't talk.
Well, but I tell you something. What he's saying.
Yes.
And we have made joke out of it.
Yes.
That the people we call Rastafarian in Jamaica were more African than the rest of us.
Yeah.
Because they were not just talking about Ethiopia. You know?
Yeah. It was broad. The Garvey notion was all of Africa.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And maybe we have lost some of that connection by not wanting to be identified. Say, boy, you know. And I give you a quick one. When I was at New York University, I ran into a race problem. And I walk over to this young girl who was Jewish. And I said, why you people don't like
Black people?
And she said to me, we don't like Negroes. I said, what's the difference? She said, you don't have a problem, you know, because you're Indian. I said, I'm Indian. I said, you're West Indian.
Oh.
You're different from the American Negroes.
Oh.
I said, oh. Yeah, So people are balanced by their thinking.
Yeah.
and even controlled
or
by their
unbalanced.
thinking.
By their lack of
Unbalanced by their
education.
thinking and controlled by it.
Yes, but when Carl, I'm interested. When Pearnel went to Africa and was received by
Yes.
people there, was it just courtesy, or was there a real sense of kinship? How you felt, how you sensed they felt?
Well, I tell you something. When I came back,
I've never been there.
I went whenever I left Nigeria, I went to Ethiopia to look for the Jamaicans
Yes.
who had left Jamaica
Yes,
and had settled in there. And they gave me a message to the so-called Rastafarians who believe that holy for something put on Ethiopia for them.
Land of milk
I
and
said,
honey.
when we came there, they took us to a place and said, as far as your eye can see is land. That's what we have to offer you. So I said to tell them, brethren, if you don't ready to come and work, don't come because you're going to starve and die. They don't have food package put down for you. In Nigeria, as I told you, at a gathering, I was so welcome, and they said, where are you from? And I coined a little thing. I am from a little part of Africa in the Caribbean.
Very good put. Very good put.
Yeah. So you feel then that we should be broadcasting to our African diaspora, or diaspora of origin, rather than our diaspora of destination.
Not rather, but two.
Two also.
In addition to.
Also, well,
Port link.
yes. That,
Yeah.
as you know, everything, economics rules most things, and we'd have to see what the interest was, what the availability was. But it's a fascinating idea. What can
Remember, they made number of countries that said it's a year of return and thing, and they're looking for us to link with them, you know.
Oh.
Who can't go, need to link up and talk and look with whatever the connection is.
Well, let me ask an outrageous question.
media-wise.
Let me ask an outrageous question before you go. What does Africa have to offer us, and what do we have to offer them of interest?
Look here, man. We can't be stuck in a narrative of the
West,
of the old colonialist and thing, right?
Right.
They want when we go there. It's another thing I want to talk about too. When we go there, we have to go all the way to Europe.
Yeah.
Or go America and do so, go down there.
Yeah.
And there's a short route to post to Guinea, you know. Not no, what's the term I use just now? That area.
Yeah.
Gulf of Guinea. So why we not taking the plane and go down a guy, you know, and jump down to some place in Brazil,
well,
and go across a short way.
So you know what is the deeper and more general point that I'm hearing you with is that there is a kind of respectful cosmopolitanism that Jamaicans should have, where we fit in.
Yeah,
we know we fit in all over the world, right?
Yes.
Because when you look at Western media, all them show you says, "Why I jungle this and get to this,"
Sir,
and then show you the good parts of down there, the developed parts.
Let me tell you something. When I landed in some of the capitals of some of the countries in Africa, you don't know whether you're in Europe.
Really?
Or same high-rise building, beautiful cars,
years ago.
beautiful homes.
Years ago.
Yeah, that was
top scholars.
20 years ago.
You don't see any difference.
It was years ago, though.
It's better today. It's better today.
Okay.
It's better today. It's more developed today. In other words, we only recognize them when we need their vote at the United Nations.
Oh.
Right? But when you go from where they're from, you don't know you're in Europe or you're in Nigeria.
Yes. Listen, it's a good idea, caller. Let's put it to those who call the shots here. And
there's a radio station here that occasionally make links down there, you know.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Well, we need to follow suit.
So you need to compete with them, man, or collaborate with them, rather.
All the best. Thanks for your call.
And tell your friends to wake up and listen to us.
Watch the bridge. Cross the bridge with us. Take care. Thanks for the call. We break on the early rise on the bridge. Let's stretch this argument a little deeper for the few minutes we have before the JIS feature. what the future, the direction that Caribbean people, Jamaican people are looking in. We're not looking back to Africa. We're looking north to the United States, despite the fact that doing so very often means denying some of our cultural roots, aspiring after things that we don't achieve here in the Caribbean. Is it our future to be hangers on to the coattails of the developed world?
Well, I think we are more attracted to development.
Development defined as what?
Development, social and cultural, that
Money,
we hear of.
Things.
Things, yes.
Things. One
yes.
Things. Yes.
Clothes, food,
Yeah,
education,
man.
car,
Yeah.
truck,
Right.
bus.
Mm.
I mean,
A lot we want.
well, that's how.
Yeah. We want Rihanna.
More Jamaicans want to go to America than to England.
Yeah. We want Rihanna. We don't want Sam Sharp.
Hold on. Huh? So
Or
more
or
Jamaicans.
Nanny.
More Jamaicans want to go to America than to go to Antigua, Barbados, and the Caribbean.
Got to get more things.
They can get more things. They see more development. They can better their lives.
Okay.
And can carry home a bigger suitcase to distribute more dungaree in the district. I mean,
So well, the underlying question is, anything wrong with that? Is that our
again,
future?
you ask a question that I can't answer negatively. I have to answer it positively.
Yeah.
In my opinion, nothing is wrong with that.
Okay.
I didn't head towards Nigeria to go to university. I didn't even want to go to London
Right.
because my uncle was in New
In New
York,
York.
and he
Yeah.
could help
The
me.
linkage.
And when I land in New York, boy,
Yeah.
I feel it. I read about this heaven
Yeah.
on earth.
Yeah. Till you found out.
You know,
Uh-huh.
it's like Ronnie, probably my first. I don't know whether it was around the last time I was coming to Kingston.
Yeah.
The first time I was coming to Kingston, I heard about tram car,
Yeah.
and I remember I was brought to Crossroad
Yeah.
to look at tram
Look at
cars.
tram
so I
cars.
saw tram. You saw tram car before you leave?
No, I'm kind of younger than you.
Oh, okay.
Little bit.
A little. So I saw tram car
Yeah.
in
Big deal.
this thing overhead.
Yeah.
And I wondering how whether it will shock the people and because it connect to electricity.
tell
Now
you.
and again you see some light.
Yeah, man. Uh-huh.
And you stand up and you watch tram car. You didn't have no cell phone for take no photograph of
photograph,
it.
but-
But you made a photograph
Okay,
with your mind.
But Art, I'm asking you now, should we then organize our economy and acknowledge the social tendency that what we really need to do is become a state of the United States or a protectorate like Puerto Rico? Because truly, as you were saying in the break, if Garvey put a ship in Kingston Harbor and said, "Come now, Black Star Line, we're going to Africa.
Yeah.
All who want, come," the ship would have sink.
No. If you put a ship in the harbor today and say it is going to Africa,
Yeah.
and that one is going to America.
America one
The
full
one
up.
America and full up and sink right there. Too
Right
many
there.
people.
Okay.
And
The-
all that special type of people
yes,
would
okay.
go into Africa.
So
Either they intellectually large or the Rasta man who is culturally.
So before we take
Attractive.
the next caller, help me, because should we then acknowledge that this enterprise of being a small island state, when certainly a third of your people, what was the survey telling us? Some large plurality of our people really want a visa for getaway. Should we really concede that? Should we knock on Mr. Biden or more likely Mr. Trump door and say, "Mukimasa, come now, take we"? I mean,
Well-
I'm exaggerating to make the point, Pearnel Charles, but that is a mentality that is not far from many of our people.
Except if them ask for a vote.
Yeah.
Ronnie Thwaites and Pearnel Charles, who
Yeah.
have been to America,
Yeah.
who have seen much of America demonstrated at the university level
Benefited.
and at the 42nd Street level,
Yes, sir.
right? And at the United Nations.
Yes, sir.
So we have an education which uplifts us to a level of understanding
Yeah.
where we wouldn't want to be a
Yeah.
part of that. In fact, some of us would probably want to go to Ghana because we hear that Ghana is more developed than some of the other African countries.
Well, let's come back to that one. Caller, good morning. Welcome to the early rise on the bridge.
Good morning, Mr. Thwaites and Mr. Charles.
Yeah,
Morning,
man.
sir.
I just want to point out one observation that I made in recent times
Sure.
with the African community,
Yeah.
that the entertainment, we the Jamaicans. That's where they are now. In this pandemic, yes, like last month, December, we don't have any big stage shows and anything there down here.
Yeah.
And when you look at Popcorn in name,
Yeah, man.
the rest of the all of them, it's done by Africa. They're
Really?
making their money.
Okay.
Yes.
I did not
Look
know
on
that.
Look on the Instagram. Yes, and you follow them, and that's where the no stage shows in.
The Jamaican artists are Caribbean are taking their trade, their performance to Africa now.
Yes,
because they can't go
That's
elsewhere.
where it is. That's where it is right now in the
Okay.
pandemic.
So
Yes,
what
because we don't have any sting and all of that kind
Right.
of thing now this year. So
Reggae Sunsplash. But
when
tell
you-
me
when you
now,
look-
what does that say to you? Is just a market they find, or is there something deeper culturally? Are they received in Africa? Are they? Do you
yes,
understand that
very-
they are
very-
popular?
Yes, when you look on the pictures, I'm just going by the pictures.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
it is like they're superstar down here.
Okay. Well,
And
they're
that's
following
where the market is.
Bob. Bob was one of the heroes of East African liberation. Yeah.
Not only East Africa.
That's my
I did-
observation.
I did
My
a survey
Yes.
on my trip in Africa,
Yes.
and the only 3 people who came out on top
Right.
was Marcus Garvey,
Yeah.
Bob Marley,
Yeah.
and unfortunately or fortunately, Michael Manley
Yes.
at that time.
Well, excellent. That tells you something. So what caller, tell me now, you're giving us some factual basis, but what does that make you think about our relationship? The caller previously was saying that we, for example, who are broadcasting principally to the diaspora, need to link with the diaspora that with Africa, with the motherland. What do you
Yes.
think?
I'm totally agreeing
Really?
with that.
Yes.
Yes, because there's a market there. That's what they say. Even when you look at the Afrobeat music,
Yeah.
our Jamaican music is not penetrating. They can just supply their own market. They don't even have to break into the American market or the English market, which they do. That's the observation, and I'm picking up and listening to the people.
You know
on
what?
the
It is
cultural
interesting.
side.
Yes, the culture, but the culture can lead us in good directions. I really have to congratulate. When I came in this morning, I was hearing some good Afrobeat music on this station.
Right,
Yes?
right.
Now that's a change, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's just my observation. That's my little input.
No, that's
And
good. That's great.
could I just add?
Yeah, before
Ronnie,
you go,
that-
listen to
add
Pearnel.
that there is a cultural and there's a money attraction because Jamaicans with this Bob Marley and the other
Yes.
stars are well accepted and they get a big money for it.
Right. Yes.
And of course, reggae is closer to Africa.
Yeah.
Reggae dance
Uh-huh.
and our shaky down there
Yeah.
is better than Africa.
Okay.
One of these days I tell you what happened to me in one of the districts.
So you're supporting the caller. Caller, thank you for the
Yes,
reflection.
yes.
Very important. Keep listening
You're
to us. You
welcome,
hear?
sir.
All the
Have a
best to
good
you. Good. Shall we take the break now for the GIS program? The early rise on the bridge. Soon come back.
I listened to you this morning,
Right.
some part of what you were saying earlier.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, so let us review for 10 seconds.
Uh-huh.
We are in a crisis, you know. We are in a crisis of doctors
Yes.
and nurses.
Yes.
Tired,
Uh-huh.
no space in the hospitals,
Right.
and still more than 90%, and I hope I'm right on the
Yes.
statistics,
Percentage.
of people who are heading to the hospital with an emergency are people who have refused to take the vaccination.
Yes.
Now, people who have long-standing problem, cancer, eye problem, all sorts of things,
Yes.
who have a date and a bed
Book.
are now told they can't come.
Come back in
because there's an
2023.
emergency
Yes.
from somebody who refused to listen to you and I, Prime Minister and leader of the opposition.
Yeah.
That look, we have a vaccine that will at least restrict the virus from attacking you or defend you against it if it attacks you. And you say, boy, me not go no big school, you know. But that there's something there's 666.
Yeah. So what we must do with them people?
Hold on. You are closer. No, I don't want to say you're closer to the throne. But I think I need to ask you, because my solution is not like the Prime Minister. Because the Prime Minister seemed to have given up. I beg you, I ask you, you will you won't. And Pearnel Charles, and not Ronnie Thwaites yet, is saying, well, I said, Dr. Davidson, Prime Minister, you have to say, listen, if you are told to take the vaccine, and you don't have a medical advice not to take the vaccine, because it's going to affect you otherwise, and you get sick, we cannot take the other man who is half dead and have a time for a thing. Put him outside because you have an emergency. Because all who go there is going as an emergency.
Yeah.
So all the other people.
But the fundamental injustice, because look what we had a report, I forget which hospital it was, I think it was Spanish Town, where they were saying that some patients who are actually in the bed.
Yes. Have to come
but
out.
Not so sick. Have to come out and sit in chair.
Yes.
So that the person who is unvaccinated and very sick have to get that bed. Now, where's the justice in that, Chief?
Well, Ronnie.
No. Obviously, you have to balance it. But for me, getting the vaccination is a issue of health and health preservation.
Yes.
But it is a fundamental moral obligation. That I do nothing in my life that is going to prejudice and make another person more vulnerable.
How do you enforce it?
You enforce it by you don't hold down people and jab them, but what you say to them is that there are consequences of your choices. Just like the Australians did to Mr. Djokovic. Yes? You don't want the vaccination, comrade? Bye-bye. Yes, you can't come here because we don't want
But let's
that.
take you there because you have just dropped two things on me, you know.
Yes, sir.
You're in the hospital. You are sick. You are not ready to be discharged. Somebody is coming in who refuses to take the vaccine.
Yes, sir.
And they need a bed to offer oxygen
Yes,
urgently.
sir. Right.
And they say, Mr. Thwaites and Mr. Charles,
Come out the bed.
unfortunately, we have to put you to sit
Yeah.
in a wheelchair
Yes, sir.
outside to carry in this person.
Yeah.
Who refused last week?
Yeah.
Who refused?
Yes. So what I would say,
Who tell Mr. Thwaites and Mr. Charles?
from an ethical point of view, I would agree to come out my bed.
Why?
And I would because hopelessly full of faults, I'm trying to follow Jesus, and Jesus would always give something.
But Jesus beat them out of the temple.
No, yeah, for doing wrong.
Yes, but
not,
you are doing the wrong thing
no,
to come out of the bed.
But when you are most vulnerable and your life is concerned, nobody must ask you about how much sin you commit. Yes. So that's what I would want to do. Whether I would have the courage to do it or even the strength to say yes, I don't know.
But you want the Prince to develop the courage to do it.
The Prime Minister needs to state it very clearly that this is a wrong. Hey, Jamaicans don't have a sense of morality about this thing, you know. And the government is unfortunately in a hopelessly compromised position to ask anybody to be moral.
No, it's not hopelessly compromised. The government is a political organization. And you can only stay there if the people say. The majority of people say can stay.
When the thing we discussed yesterday about this man's contract,
yes,
yeah, where him get the money, even when him could have whatever him do,
yes,
and you don't hear and cabinet meet on Monday, yesterday.
No, you don't see the paper this morning.
What did it say? What I see in the paper this morning is a man defending it, and the chairman of the thing saying, "Oh, I never knew it was always that way. How that cure anything?
No,
make it worse."
No, but I think that Mr. O'Shane, was it him, Shane?
I don't even want to call his name. I don't know the man.
Right. No, but I think
what he is a politically preferential person who get a blight, and how many other people get a blight, and people instead of saying no, we make a mistake. Sorry. Yes. All right. It's done. yes, which would wipe it clean, they must say it's okay.
No,
here's the reason why.
You
Pearnel,
didn't hear everything.
What
the Minister of Finance has said that can't go no further. Full stop. It shouldn't be there. The man said him never get it. His contract said the opposite. His contract said if he's fired, he'll get nothing. That's what he said last night in a presentation on the radio.
Well,
and he said, and
I read the papers this morning.
I need to apologize to him.
No, I'm not apologizing.
If what he says is true.
Well, the simple positions, I have called no name, but there's an instance. And what we need is a clear situation, a clear statement from the minister in charge of that matter.
Yes.
This, if it happened, is wrong. We are rescinding it, and we are setting the following standards. All that's needed. 3 sentences.
Yes. I have done my investigation internally.
Right.
And I understand that nobody can put up their hand and say they have ever gotten that.
No,
but it is documented here.
I'm reading from, you have the papers there.
Yes, I haven't read that.
No, I have this here from the chairman,
yes,
and from the person itself. The headline is that this man is doubling down on his contract.
Yes.
Yes? He says that the law was changed to allow just that, what he's getting. And that, I don't want to first get too distracted, but we have an interview with Dr. Thompson coming up. But the fact of the matter is that you erode your moral position. Yes? To tell people what to establish a framework of conduct in the respect where we started, getting the vaccine.
Only for a few people too.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yes.
And whether you're on that side or on your side, or on my side, or on any side.
We raise all that kind of excuses about who is on what side when we don't want to deal with the reality of the situation. And that is
I am glad that the gentleman has come out to say.
Here is this. FLA boss fires back in pay dispute. FLA chairman Dalling's terms were part of legacy contract.
Yes.
That don't look like any apology to me. No, if you heard something else since and the newspaper is wrong, let's hope. Look, redemption is always, and forgiveness is always part of it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you double down on something which is so offensive and morally repugnant as paying a man his salary, irrespective of whether he's doing the work or not, yes, that erodes your credibility and your kudos, your pedigree, to go and say, listen, no, I'm really saying that you must take the jab because you're a peril to other people who might have to come out of their hospital bed to give you if you get sick. You don't understand? Everything is everything, you know, Pearnel.
Yes, but Ronnie, let us not get away from the crisis that we face. This fourth
wave.
No, I'm talking. This fourth wave. I told you 2 weeks ago that my problem is when they take the schools.
Yes, sir.
My problem is when the teachers say half of our class
it's happening right
gone
now.
in.
It's happening right now.
And you want the teacher to go back there and half our class
No,
gone.
but I want a clear position, because what is happening now is that there's confusion in the schools. Up to yesterday, some schools close, some school because of the very reasons you give, the situations. Some still trying to stay open. Yes, understanding the peril that the students are under. One from what's in their heads, the other what is possibly in their bodies.
Yes.
Yeah, and we are faced with a national dilemma, elevating personal freedoms, so to speak. Yes?
Explain that.
Sure.
The elevation of the personal freedom.
What we're saying is you have the right to do what you please.
No.
And no, that's what some people are saying. And my responsibility and my body. And you can't tell me nothing. I'm a free man.
Okay.
Yes? And
your freedom is until you reach a hospital for Mr. Thwaites to come out and Mr. Charles and make you go in.
Look,
because you refuse.
We actually agree, you know. But what I'm pointing out is that we need to lay the groundwork.
Yeah.
Yes, of mutual responsibility. Every right has an obligation. Yes, my right to be free is correlative to an obligation that I must not use my freedom in a way that is going to prejudice anybody else, all other people.
To conclude, can I say that you have just read what you see before me?
Well, listen,
in other words, we agree fully on
Sure,
what you have
sure,
said.
sure.
And we mourn
Yeah.
those who honestly believe it.
Yeah.
Because there are some people
honestly.
who honestly
Sure.
feel that if they take it, they're going to die.
Yeah, well, I heard some religious people on the radio on Sunday, and I'm amazed at their distortion of religious consciousness, as I see it.
Yes.
No, but and I want to respect them. I'm not deriding them, but their conclusion ends up to be the opposite of Jesus' own example
Ronnie, I said to a lady
of
who
self-sacrifice.
came to me, who said she loved me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, listen, you're vaccinated. She said, me, sir?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Sir? I said, let me see, turn on, let me see your left hand. I said, what that scar is? Yeah. And then me, sir, my mother give me, mama make me take it. Yeah. So no me that making my children take it. I said, I am sorry for you.
Yeah.
And you know what you said to me? Yeah. Sir, there's something that she hasn't gone to high school, you know. Yeah. I said, the chief medical personnel in the world and the scientists in the world has said to me and you, we have spent billions of dollars, hundreds of hours, top doctors,
business.
Put something together to prevent you from dying.
She no business.
Well, I'm in a business with that, sir.
I tell you.
Because
okay, but listen now.
The Bible says 666.
You said that now.
Can't show me in the Bible that
have mercy. Hear me now. But you know the correct thinking and reasoning is so important to elevate our human condition beyond the squalor of prejudice and discrimination and superficiality. Here we have in Jamaica, we are told that our inflation rate is 7.3%. Okay, if you, I don't know if you go supermarket, I'm afraid for that place, but. My wife tells me, and all the other people who I know go supermarket have to go and shop, that, and I know from the bills, that 7.3% has no relationship to the rise in the cost of living.
Well,
no relation at all. 25% is the increase. Yes. What I used to spend $1,000 on now costs me $1,250 in terms of food.
1,000 what?
250.
No, you're shopping at. Tell me where you're shopping.
Well, they say that no.
Because
it's more than 25% for where you shop.
Ronnie.
Okay, so it makes
Gloria
it worse.
told me that when you go to the big supermarket, the Price Mart, where hundreds of people are there line up from early morning.
Early morning, forgetting.
They are not coming out with an overflow basket anymore. It's half.
I see. Look at that.
At every level. So it's not just the 1,000.
And that we must talk about, sir. And instead of telling me, I don't know what measurement you are used, but you tell me, no, I'm told that inflation and cost of living is related, but it's not the same thing. But when you tell me 7.3% inflation, yes, and my cost of living gone up, I said 25%, you, Miss Gloria, tell you is more than that. Ordinary person know that. Then what is living here about? No wonder the boat to America going full up. If you park it out there.
But you conclude that and tell me who you blame.
Okay.
Who do you blame?
I come into that. Let me tell you another problem I have.
Yes.
Yesterday, the Statistical Institute, I deeply respect them. Okay?
Well, hold on.
More people
don't tell me you're going to how many people how many more people working.
No, of course, because the measurement. I'm not denying their statistics, but I'm saying that the basis of measurement, however international it is, that it is people who work 1 hour or more in the last how many days. That is employed?
But, Ronnie.
That is employment, sir?
When I heard this, it don't make you feel good because you have something in your head telling you.
It's foolishness. That's crooked thinking.
Not only that, there are more. If you told me that hundreds more people are on the road selling.
Yeah. You no more believe that.
But I see it.
Of course.
More men sell water.
Yes.
More people sell this.
Yeah, but why
more chicken pan. So, but there's something going on.
Yeah.
More people are involved in enterprise today.
So that make you feel good?
Yes, it made me feel good there. I don't know who is buying and where the money coming from. Something is happening.
What I saw on the streets at Kingsgate, right in front of Jamaica House, King's House. Yes, the other day.
Yes,
I saw crime in the making. I saw a young girl with desperate eyes. She could have been 15. Yeah, and she was selling 2 bags of lime. Yes, and the lime so ripe and rotten. Nobody would have buy it. And every she come and she knock on the window of the car. Yes, and she said, "I beg you, buy now, take it now. How much for it? $300. He said, "No, man. I said, give me $100 because she desperately needs something." I saw an unwanted baby. I saw crime in the future, right then and there. Yes, and you tell me about employment going down. You tell me about an economy that is bringing justice for all. I said, and at the same time as Audley is pointing out to me what happened on CNN, that over the pandemic, the billionaires of this world have increased their wealth by $5 trillion.
Why?
Yeah? And we have the derivative of that here. I'm not against people having their money, and I have no red eye for them. But what I'm saying is that if you culture an economy and a social order of inequality, you are begging for more murder, you are begging for more human destruction, and that is morally wrong, that is unchristian.
Hold on, Christian, hold on. Listen. There's something else. There's something else that you need to look at.
What?
Have you been hearing the report from big business?
Yes, sir.
How much profit they've made?
Of course.
So tell me something. How you make so much profit when so much man get laid off?
Well, this is it. Ask the financial sector of this
hold
country.
on.
Ask Richard Biles.
No. They have increased prices.
Yes, sir.
In most of their product.
Sure.
And they have increased it to people who are earning less.
Yes, sir.
Right? As a result of, and people who have no more job as a result of. So where are we heading?
We're heading downwards. Yes. While we are saying, while those who we elect to represent us are not speaking with the same clarity that people are feeling.
Well, I tell you.
So you ask me who I'm blaming? Yes, I'm blaming. First of all, my criticism is systemic, and it includes me.
Yes.
Yes. But I am saying that if you, as I did, go forward and say, I want to encourage you, lead you, be your representative to do better. Yes, and not change, or not change for the better. What is the purpose? At least I must be honest with myself, as I'm trying to be, and say, listen, while you try to do something where you can point to this community center or that person you sent to school, all good things, yes?
Well,
but at the end of the day, we are failing to appreciate the fundamental inadequacy of our system.
Well, one of the things that she told me is that the basket is now half because the price of goods have doubled.
Yes,
now tell me,
double.
Why double? Why?
Why?
Yes.
Okay.
Why price gone up? That the big companies, not only the big ones, are making a bigger profit.
This is international.
At the end of it.
This is international logistics.
To close this off, I tell you a frightening joke.
Yes,
frightening joke.
What I think. Listening in Bridge Nation.
A barefoot man is at the corner before Flo. I don't ever see him walking. I don't know how the hell he walks.
Yeah.
And he came up and knocked on my window and begged me something.
Yeah.
And a voice inside of my head said, Lord, Pearnel, man, the man, he's a trouble man. He can't even walk. So, Ronnie, boy, I straight over, I give the man $500.
Oh, my.
The man said to me, thank you, Mr. Pearnel, Charles. Ronnie, I could not move the vehicle. The man knows it's me.
Of course he knows you.
And what that has done to me, it has put me in a crisis position because I now have to be giving. Because I'm afraid the man don't know me. The man said, thank you, Mr. Pearnel, Charles.
Yes, of course. So you see, and I'm glad he did it. And I'm glad your conscience is troubled. Because when you hear me and you speak strong, Yes, it's because our conscience is troubled,
Yes.
and it will not be. It cannot any longer be clouded by the anesthesia,
Ronnie,
the air-conditioned phlegm of Garden House,
As
where
politicians.
we clap where there's no basis for clapping, and where we deride where the deriding is only leading to the downfall of our people.
Where we clap when we think we're either going to get more vote or we're going to beat the other side.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Folly.
Not-
folly. Continued folly.
The line in the Observer the other day
Yeah.
is something that we must talk about.
Yes, sir.
We have
Okay.
not reached a stage yet where we look down to whether we're going to win or lose or capture or not capture.
Well, all I know is
what have we?
All I know is that people who have to pay double, as your wife indicates, for food, yes, they are losing right now.
Fanny, I don't know how they're surviving.
I don't know either.
Well, you used to give away $1,000.
Yeah.
To do what?
To do what? We'll come back to that, but listen, there's optimism from our diaspora here. We're going to link up with one such important member in just a moment. Stay tuned. The Early Rise on the Bridge. The Early Rise on the Bridge with Pearnel Charles and me, Ronnie Thwaites. Welcome, Dr. Sylvanus Thompson. Morning and welcome home.
Yeah, well, I wish I was home. I'm in Toronto currently at -7, feeling more like -13. I wish I was in Montego Bay.
Listen to me. I will look at the Jamaican flag, Pearnel Charles, behind Dr. Thompson on the screen.
And which of the parish are you from, Doctor?
Originally from Clarendon, sir.
What part?
From Thompson Town, not very far from your constituency. From Victoria, actually.
So you know I spent 20 years in North Central.
Yeah, look at that
know.
man from Thompson Town, Dr. Sylvanus Thompson, former Associate Director at Toronto Public Health. Dr. Thompson is a fellow of the Canadian Health Service Research Foundation and former Vice President of the Jamaica Canadian Association. Dr. Thompson, tell us your story. How you reach from near Thompson Town to cold Toronto?
Well, actually, I work with the Ministry of Health in Jamaica for a number of years. I'm in public health. I've worked on almost every aspect of public health in Jamaica. So I actually went to Toronto. I came to Toronto a number of years ago to study at Rice University. After finishing my studies, I went back to Jamaica, of course, and I spent some more years in Jamaica. Eventually came back to Canada to do my master's in food science, and I stayed in Toronto after that. So that's how I get to Toronto. Initially to study, came back to Jamaica, contributed to Jamaica.
Sure.
And still continuing to contribute to Jamaica, even though I'm in Toronto.
Listen to me. Your speech betrays you. Everybody on the street knows say you're a Jamaica man. Probably can identify your accent to Thompson Town.
Yeah, every time.
Yes, isn't that lovely?
As I always say to men like you, when you come on the line, you should say, "Well, go on down there."
Dr. Thompson, your career is in public health?
It is in public health, yes, sir.
Chief Charles has a daughter who is an expert in public health too.
My wife is a senior public health professional.
Really?
Yes, she used to give vaccination to children in
Yes,
school.
look at that. But
And my daughter now is a doctor in public
health. So,
and Chief Charles, I did quite a bit of work with your son, Colonel Charles Jr.
Good.
While he was a part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with responsibility for diaspora.
Good.
So I am very surprised you're the fourth person from the third country that
has spoken about
say something. I don't wonder if you're saying it's nice because you love me.
No, man.
No, not necessarily because we love you, but we're talking the truth.
Yes, that's good.
Well, he's now in a ministry that is going to be able to supply with what Mr. Thwaites is asking for.
Need plenty
food
of help
for the diaspora.
I hope so. The strength of the diaspora, the weaknesses within the diaspora, Dr. Thompson, talk to us about that. Because what is it that you've settled in Toronto now? You, like many tens of thousands other Jamaicans, people of Caribbean origin. What continues the link? Why do you bother with Jamaica?
Well, I bother with Jamaica because I'm straight up Jamaican, right? Jamaica is my home. Anybody sees me, they know that I'm Jamaican. You hear me, know that I'm Jamaican. And I see where I can continue to contribute to Jamaica. In terms of what is wrong. I wouldn't say something wrong with Jamaica, with the diaspora. What we really need in the diaspora, and I can say that, anytime I speak about diaspora, is a bit more support from the government of Jamaica. Any government that is, I've worked with, not just this government, but the previous government. A lot of times we hear, yes, we're going to be supporting diaspora. We're going to be supporting the stuff that you want to do. But once a conference is done, then we do not hear much about that until the next conference. So we need that kind of support coming from the Jamaica in order to assist Jamaica.
Yes. Can you give us an example? Give me an example. What would you like to see?
Good. So let me give you a practical example, Chief. I plan a number of activities in Jamaica. We had a huge health fair in Clarendon, in Victoria Primary School. So we brought down a number of supplies. I followed every rule that that was laid out. I itemized every bit of item. I followed every form. And when I went to customs, the person who checked me was not even aware of the term diaspora. So I spent the entire day at the wharf trying to clear stuff, to have a health and wellness fair in Victoria.
Yes. Well, that you don't need to tell us more. First of all, I want to apologize, Doc, because those of us who are here and have had or have some element of public responsibility, that is arms house behavior. That will turn back all but the hardiest soul. Totally unnecessary. Don't tell me that people are scamming at the wharf to the extent that they have to put you through that. That day that you spent down there and whatever costs and expenses you had, yes, or could have been spent helping people in Victoria Town to live a better life, eh? And we must get out of our own way sometime,
We should also tell you that your colleagues who came on this program, at least some of them, are expressing similar.
Same thing.
However,
how many
the
years
minister,
now?
since you and I, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, has set up a special board that is going to deal with diaspora.
Inputs to things like health fairs and supplies.
Everything.
Well, I thought we had that before.
And let us get the minister or somebody to give us the board so we can talk to the diaspora.
Well, that's a good idea.
Because we don't want to hear that we make an announcement.
No, and then it doesn't happen. Yeah. When you, with your Canadian experience, Dr. Thompson, look at, for example, public health in Jamaica, what do you feel? Are we getting there? Are we up to the mark? Or are there things that we should do that could make things better?
Well, there's always room for improvement, right? But the Jamaican public health system that I know very well, and I've been a part of the Canadian public health system for over 20 years, being an associate director at Toronto Public Health.
Really?
And there are a number of areas that Jamaica is actually ahead. Food safety is my specialty. And when you look at food handler training and certification, for example, every food handler in Jamaica has to be certified in order to work as a food handler. Even the person on the street,
Sure.
selling the smallest food item has to be certified. In Canada, for example, in Toronto, maybe one of the first cities in Toronto requiring food handler certification, and it requires just one person, per establishment to be certified, and there had to be a big fight for that. So, so that's one area, for example, that I know that Jamaica is ahead.
Yes, that's good. Well,
and in terms of primary care, again, Jamaica has a very, very good primary care system, right? With the current pandemic, maybe there's lots of room for improvement, but overall, when the pandemic started, for example, Jamaica's response was maybe one of the best in the world,
right?
So so Jamaica is definitely on par, in terms of some of the public health aspects.
What do the Jamaicans in your community, to your knowledge, what do they talk about of their country? What are their preoccupations? Is it crime? Is it COVID? Is it corruption? What do they yearn for in our land that perhaps we need to take more attention to?
Okay, so you're speaking on behalf of the diaspora, in terms of the ones that you identified: corruption, crime, and of course COVID. Prior to COVID, the big concern was crime. Persons want to come home, some persons want to return to Jamaica to live, but with the crime, that's a big challenge. So currently, they're talking about crime, the response to COVID, and of course, government response to both.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, Dr. Thompson, and it bothers me that you have 4 items, and no doubt it's national among you, and there's nothing good that attract the overseas?
Oh yeah, there's lots. If there
Well,
was nothing
let
good
us
in the
take one. Crime is front, corruption is front, and COVID is front. There is not one good thing.
No, but he's going to tell you there is.
That
there is
in the headline.
Well, yeah. What would
I wouldn't say that there's nothing good in the headline, because if you, Chief Charles mentioned, if you remember when I mentioned Jamaica's COVID response to COVID initially was one of
world class.
Yes,
right? Absolutely, right. So, I'm a recipient of the Governor General Jamaica Diaspora Award of Excellence for 2020, 2021.
Excellent.
And one of the things I heard the Governor General say, which I keep saying, is to use what is good about Jamaica to fix what is bad about Jamaica.
Nothing.
So there's lots of goods, and we look at the good things about Jamaica. The Jamaica flag is one of maybe the most popular flags and most recognizable flag in the world. Once a Jamaican flag is flying, everybody knows that's Jamaica. So there are lots of good coming out of Jamaica. Last year we had such a good turn in sports, music, our culture. So there's tons of good about Jamaica. Even against travel advisors, so people are still coming to Jamaica because Jamaica is a land of wood and water, the land of love.
That just make me feel a little better, because I think, sir, that not only you, but we in Jamaica don't have the time to sell anything good, because the competition is, I could do it better, not what is good, how well can we do it together. And that's the headline in the Observer. How can we do it together better? But go on, because we need to congratulate you. You have them together. You have it together there. Yes, you let my co-host scratching his hands.
He trying word for me, Dr. Thompson, how have you been received in Canada? You're a black Jamaican. You talk like a Jamaican. Your loyalty is clear. What has been your experience in what is a very Western, a very Eurocentric society?
So racism is everywhere. It is more obvious in some places than others. So I had my challenges, moving through the ranks in public health in Canada. When I came to Canada first, and when I started working at Toronto Public Health, I had over 20 years experience working in public health in Jamaica. But I started in Canada, I started as a student public health inspector, so I started from scratch. But I moved to the rank very, very quickly. My experience, my previous experience, my qualification, it was recognized. So I moved to the rank, pretty quickly. Persons, wondered, who I knew at Toronto Public Health to be able to do that. But so having said that, once persons recognize your experience, your expertise, your qualification, then you are seen as a person, not necessarily as a Jamaican, not necessarily as a black person, but persons have experienced their challenges.
But in your own progression indicates something that's very good about Canada. If in fact they are prepared, despite the serious presumptions, perhaps racist presumptions, that they are prepared to accept your competence and to elevate you to positions that your capacity deserves. That's a good ideal and a good reality, isn't it?
It is a good reality, and like I said, my experience might have been smoother than others, but persons, get a chance. We had a black chief of police in Toronto, and we have others of Jamaican descent. We have so we're seeing Jamaicans, and not just Jamaicans, but blacks, moving up the scale in Jamaica.
Okay, you're a food specialist. What can you eat of your from your Jamaican heritage? What can you find in Toronto? One of the things that we are often troubled about is that the food, the supplies from the Caribbean that would make people like yourself happy are expensive or irregular in their availability. How you see it?
Absolutely no challenge. Toronto is considered as one of the most diverse cities in the world.
Yeah.
And Almost anything that I can find in a supermarket in Jamaica, I can find in a West Indian store in Jamaica, in Toronto.
Well, that's good.
Absolutely, almost anything. Well, it might not, the produce might not be as fresh as you would find them in Jamaica. But of course, I have to go to transportation. But I can find almost anything on shelf in Toronto.
Well,
but you are a symbol of Jamaican. As Ronnie say, you talk Jamaican, you look like Jamaican, and but sir, some of our best professionals, doctors, teachers, are abroad. How does that work well for Jamaica?
It works well for Jamaica, right? Let me give you an example. If I should, be brave enough to call one person's name, for example, Dr. Hopton Allen, from Sick Kids Hospital. He was just awarded, I think, OD from Jamaica.
Sick Kids.
He's one of the top persons when into COVID, the COVID fight in Canada. Every you hear COVID, you hear Dr. Allen's name, and he's just one example. But a number of professionals, they are from Jamaican heritage, and they're well recognized in Canada.
Would you want people like that to have more influence in policy making in Jamaica? Do you feel that we are giving the ratings to that kind of talent, ours, but also on the international scene?
Not necessarily influence, but at least input.
Interesting distinction, Pearnel. Not necessarily influence, but input. Yes. In other words, we listen to you.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. You listen. For myself, like I said, I'm a food safety specialist. I work in food safety in Jamaica. I help to develop some of the current food safety policies and laws in Jamaica. And being abroad, I got exposed to other stuff. I'm a technical advisor for the National Environmental Health Association. And so I get exposed to stuff, and I try to introduce a lot of these things in Jamaica with necessarily not the best support. It's good to say that this is good, but you get a chance to have input into decision-making process. That's a big challenge.
Because we
Dr. Thompson, from where you are right now, we are having a problem, both Ronnie and myself, to say to our brothers and sisters in Jamaica, take the vaccine. It saves life. It saves not only your life, but those who are in a position that we have to remove to put you in an emergency. What would you like to say to them?
Okay. So my advice, is from a public health standpoint is to take the vaccine. Not just take the vaccine, but, adhere to the other precautions like avoiding crowding, wear a good mask, right? Wash hands, and do all the things that public health is asking you to do, because that's the only way that the pandemic will end. In Canada, I'm a part of what I call the Black Community Vaccine Initiative. Because we have the same challenges within the Black population in Canada. The rate of vaccination is lowest within the Black populations, including Jamaicans. So what we do from the Jamaican Canadian Association, the Black Physicians Association of Ontario and other organizations, we have what we call pop-up clinics, and we have a number of them at the Jamaican Canadian Association. It's a culturally sensitive environment. We have it with Jamaican music, Jamaican beef patty, soup, jerk chicken, everything to get people to come out, and they actually come out. So vaccine hesitancy is a big issue, but access is another big piece. So no sense telling people to get the vaccine if it's not easily accessible without any barriers. So yes, I want to tell people to take the vaccine. I would not say argument done, because the argument will never be done. You have to continue the discussion at all times.
Very modest, very mature approach.
Very Jamaican.
Yes.
Very Thompson, very Clarendonian.
You hear this bossy Clarendonian, Dr. Thompson. You and him.
I hear him.
Listen, what a joy speaking with you this morning. We rate you. We thank you for the work that you're doing. We thank you for the brotherhood that you offer to all of us in Jamaica. Much respect to you. We hope to link you again. All the best.
Yeah, so before I run, so I just want to make a shout out to my mom in Victoria, Clarendon.
Listen to me.
Richards.
Of course.
I doubt if she's I doubt if she's up at
Somebody
this time.
will carry the message for her.
Yeah, my niece Audrey, I'm sure she's listening. My mom is 101 this year.
Bless her.
You know, so
You
I
see
doubt
that
if she's
now?
already up already. Okay.
You're great. I see all those certificates behind you.
Yes.
And as Ronnie has observed,
Yeah, the flag.
the Jamaican flag,
Yes.
which means you're a real Jamaica man.
Shows you what the Jamaican diaspora can be. Dr. Thompson,
Okay.
great talking to
Yes.
you. All the best.
Yeah.
Take care.
Dr. Sylvanus Thompson, former Associate Director at Toronto Public Health. Listen to me. Listen. Once again, we never leave this program after this kind of interview without feeling elated at the pedigree, at the goodwill, at the generosity of spirit of our diaspora counterparts.
What it is doing, Ronnie, is exposing you and I. Well, I don't know about you, but it's exposing me to the fact that there are so many Jamaicans in top jobs and the cooperation of one set with the other. You already said they have their own organization and pushing the things. And they, I
No,
just
but look at it now. Two things that 2 points among many. One, on the question of vaccination, I'm glad you raised that.
Yes.
The pop-up clinics, you cannot ask everybody to go to health center at between 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock if you really want mass vaccines.
Yes.
Okay, and therefore one of the things that we have to encourage government to do, the hard-pressed health system. Yes, no criticism. You need to have a vaccination center. For me, at every school and at the big churches. Yes?
Right, haven't I been told, or I'm dreaming, that public health inspectors will be going to schools.
I did not hear that.
As they did when we were there.
Sure.
If you didn't have the vaccination, you could go over to the health center and get vaccinated.
I want to road.
I understand that, and I spoke to the minister once who told me that the preservation of the vaccine.
But we have to overcome that.
That's what they say. No, they have trucks that
we
can drop it off.
If we can keep red
1 minute, Ronnie. Doctors. Doctors have a lot of patients.
Yeah.
And there are people who don't want to go to the arena to line up.
No, and there are people who shame because they
shame and don't want you to see them
They don't want to see them do it.
So the doctor
Yeah.
get in. If you have 50 patients.
Right. Or the school nurse.
You just simply say, listen,
Sure.
when you come inside here.
Just come in here and we deal with you. But and
every doctor, we have more than how many 100 doctors we have?
I can't gainsay the Ministry of Health's concern about the integrity of the vaccine. But if we can keep red stripe beer cool, we can keep vaccine cold to Sarah. Okay? So come.
If you go to red stripe beer, you could have gone to Heineken.
Well, too green.
You see what you pen him have in that pocket?
You find me out.
Totally identified this time.
Listen now.
I catch up with him this morning,
okay,
right?
but what a wonderful experience to talk to Dr. Thompson. What
Very
emotion. And the other thing that he said that's of great importance is he says the diaspora doesn't necessarily want influence, but they want input.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is a tendency, that we have that's identified to
Tell the man that abroad he don't know about Jamaica.
Know nothing about Jamaica.
And if it's still out of Jamaica business.
What am I talking about?
But we want him money.
Yes.
And we want him clothes.
Yes, sir.
And we want we
anything
don't mind if him tell us, but
my time now.
A full time.
Yes, and that is an attitude. I'm going to say this charitably, but truthfully, in the government service. Yes, because many of the inputs will mean changing what we are accustomed to do, and we don't want change. Change will disrupt me. I can't come in the morning and spend a half hour deciding what my lunch menu is going to be. Okay, or how my church program going print, and therefore we resist it, or we say yes, we agree with it, but we do not follow it. Yes, obedezco pero no cumplo is a phrase from the Spanish colonial era. Yes, I will obey, but I won't comply. Yes, we have to have a different approach to the diaspora on this.
Something he said there, and I want you to follow up because it's not a one-sided thing. The diaspora need that encouragement when the guys go and set up organization, collect all of these things, send to Jamaica, and they stay on the wharf, and they spoil, and they charge them some taxes that they can't pay.
It doesn't make any sense.
So when they set up this
Remember
new board,
spoke with Bishop Brown of Craig Brown of Zion Care International,
exactly.
and it's the same thing with Dr. Thompson. So I'm going to ask, we're going to ask Lafayne to make sure that one day we get Minister Tufton or his delegate to tell us about this new facility,
new board,
and on our program.
Get
here,
somebody to come to explain
so that
to the
they can
diaspora.
explain. If you want to bring health paraphernalia for a health fair in Victoria Town or wherever,
Right.
this is the stage you must go through. This is what must happen. So that's the least we can do on this end.
I am for that because, trust me, I know how it feels when you're overseas and running. One thing that they have not exposed, they have to work hard, you know.
Yeah, of course.
In fact,
Hey, look at
a
look at
lazy
the gentleman.
Jamaican man
Yeah,
go to America,
yeah.
him can't survive, you know.
No. But look at this gentleman who is there. He's telling us
Look where is
the
he
temperature
from?
in Toronto this morning.
Exactly.
Look what he's putting up with. Yes?
And you saw what was behind him.
Absolutely.
You count all
Effort.
of those things.
Effort.
Right.
Effort and loyalty.
And he
That's
said
what
he
I saw.
started at the bottom.
Students.
He moved fast because they said, well, you get, how you know all of this thing?
Quite so.
I spent 20 years
Yes.
in
Public
Jamaica,
health in Jamaica.
public health.
Yeah, look at that. There we go. Listen, I have to take up one matter before we part. There's a suggestion this morning. Two things really. There's a story in one of the papers of a little boy in a private school in Montego Bay who is being excluded. His mother says because he have him growing locks.
Yeah, what?
But growing locks.
Oh,
Yes?
man.
And the school is saying that it's because she refuses to make him wear a mask. Now listen. Education, protection, health protection, respect for each other. We don't need to do that. First of all, if the hairstyle is clean, no matter what it looks like, if it is, try and accommodate it. That's one thing. But as far as the mask is concerned, if it is a rule of the school, and it should be, that the children, as far as possible, wear masks, what is the parent doing to deny that? Or to refuse that? And if they want to refuse it, the school is quite right in saying you cannot come. Don't you agree?
Well, Ronnie, I want to start from another angle.
Yeah.
I don't believe, I have not heard, I have not seen, I have not felt the headmasters'
Principles.
positions, the principal's position in a school. That is why I complain that there are children there who not getting past program, and the principal don't have a voice.
Yeah.
There are children there who get in past program who shouldn't be getting, and the principal don't.
Too
And
many-
I think we need to give more recognition
To the
and more
principals.
authority
Of course.
to the principal.
And that is what one of the things that Professor Patterson in his education report is saying.
Yes.
Instead of them really just simply waiting on instructions from the Ministry of Education. We're going to wrap up now, but there's one other thing I'm putting in your mind. There's a gentleman, former policeman named Mr. Amos. Yes?
Mr. who?
Amos.
Yes.
Who
I
is
saw
sa-
the headline.
Yes,
He wants 600.
He wants gun holders to become part of the security force. Madness. Stop all that.
Gun holders.
Licensed firearm
License
holders.
to become a
Look
part-
here, the people who get licensed firearms in this country are not necessarily the same people who you want to become your security force.
I want to be exposed.
Listen to me. Or want to be exposed.
Yes,
The purpose. One of the problems that Jamaica has, which we won't deal with, is the issue of what is behind my needing a gun or wanting a gun. Yes. Tomorrow morning, maybe we can pick up that on the early rise.
Okay.
This is Bridge 99. On behalf of the Honorable Pearnel Charles, we bid you good day. We welcome Richie B. and invite you to stay on the bridge. Cross with us. Soon come.